Wow, what a great book. Freakonomics by Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner. Stephen D. Levitt is a William B. Ogen Distinguished Service Professor of Economics at the University of Chicago. He is the director of Becker Center on the Chicago Price Theory. In 2004, Levitt was awarded with the John Bates Clark Medal for being the most influential economist under the age of 40. 2 years later, he was named of Time Magazine's 100 People Who Shaped Our World. Levitt's style of research is by asking many questions to understand the real-life issues. I think that his way of analyzing problems really qualifies him for being a good author of this book. Stephen J. Dubner is an award-winning author who has published many books such as Turbulent Souls, Confession of a Hero Worshipper, and a children's book, The Boy with Two Belly Buttons. He has worked with the New York Times Magazine, the New Yorker, and Time. After watching an interview with Dubner by Intelligence Squared, Dubner has shown that he is a good author for this book because he has a great connection with Levitt's beliefs and ideas. Using Dubner's journalistic skills and Levitt's understandings of economics, the two are able to put more ambiguous topics into more coherent terms. A big part of economics is finding correlation between data to come to conclusions. Dubner and Levitt are the definition of a great writing duo. They each have a distinct job in that Levitt thinks of the information and Dubner puts it all into constructive sentences and paragraphs.
When I first started reading this book, I thought it was going to be a generic book about economics, nonfiction. I haven't really read any nonfiction books, so I wasn't really accustomed to the kind of way they word stuff in it. But after reading the first chapter, I realized it wasn't really that much different from any other book that I've read, because it puts factual information that you'd see in a nonfiction book, but it puts it in a fun way, like comparing stuff, which is what economics is all about. What really appealed to me was that each chapter asked a random question, for example, chapter 2 was, how is the Ku Klux Klan like a group of real estate agents? It asks a question like that at the beginning of each chapter, and throughout the chapter it just analyzes and goes through how the two things correlate to each other, and by the end of the chapter it shows some really good data about how the two correlate to each other. One of the downsides of this book, in my opinion, was that while the information is put, the authors word it in a really fun way, sometimes it's a little too much and it's a little hard to process. So, that kind of hindered my experience because I had to go back and reread it, and it wasn't as much fun as it was when I got it the first time. All in all, I enjoyed reading this book. I think it would be a good book. I'd recommend it to any young adult or adult who are new to nonfiction, or someone who doesn't really know what economics is, because I didn't know what economics was when I first started reading this book, and I have a good understanding of it now. Yeah, it's a good starter book for new nonfiction readers because it remains factual in its writing, but it expands it in a fun way that's more personal and informal. Someone who hates nonfiction should probably avoid this book because there's a lot of data. It's kind of hard to process at times, and someone who's not used to it probably won't really understand most of it, won't get the full effect. A good thing about this book is it does a good job explaining information. There's a lot of information in this book, so that's really a good thing. However, there is a lot of it, so it can be hard to take it all in at sometimes. But overall, I thought this book was fun to read. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to learn